swag of a prize fighter. The antithesis of a firefighter. Arsonist, I'm a fire rider. Instant flame like a firelighter. So special with shows, I live out my flows. Can't walk in my shoes, can't purchase my clothes. Ice in my veins, but I never froze. Picture perfect, but I never pose. As a juvenile, I knew I bounced back. Got rated, had a plan to get my ounce back. Use cheese as bait, that's a mousetrap. Let me to the right person to pounce at. They selling dreams, I'm pulling receipts. Full force, we can't be beat. Got a dirty mouth, but the flow so neat. Keep your 2 cents, talk is cheap.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is the WBC announces a plan to create a transgender division. All right, we're going to take a look at that and then we'll discuss it in greater detail.
I didn't even see that subject.
All right, it says WBC Press explains further details regarding plan for transgender category. And this is Boxing Scene. All right. And it states last week, the World Boxing Council generated plenty of headlines when the organization's president, Mauricio Suleiman, revealed that the WBC was planning to create a new category for transgender boxers. Suleiman cautions that the new category does not necessarily mean that a new world title will be created. The goal, says Suleiman, is to provide a platform for trans athletes to compete in the sport. Once the category is established, there is no timeline on when a fight could be sanctioned, which ultimately will depend on 2 trans boxers in the same weight category going pro. And this is a quote, I'm assuming from Mauricio. We'll see. We don't know when a bout could be sanctioned. Our interest right now is the sport at first, safety, of course, for all athletes. If there is a common group of trans athletes, it leads to having more people reach out and register. We don't know where this could finish, Suleiman told Sky Sports. But what we want to do is create a transgender boxing program, not necessarily a belt or a championship, simply a competition so they can be included in boxing and not excluded. We put this together. We're going to be working. We're trying to find how many potential athletes there are out there so we can help them and establish a boxing program. The WBC is firmly adopting an at-birth rule, which prevents a trans boxer assigned as a male at birth from fighting a boxer assigned as a female at birth or vice versa. The WBC medical committee and the technical committee met during the WBC convention. It was decided that the WBC absolutely rejects and opposes to any born man fight against a born woman, said Suleiman. Suleiman said, we created a committee to put together a program for transgender boxing that can find inclusion to those athletes who wish to take part in boxing, but under this program that adheres to absolutely no man against woman. It is important to address the situation. Boxing is not a game. You don't score goals or break records of time. We had to address this. We need to include and bring the opportunity if there are potential athletes who want to box. So that's what Mauricio Suleiman said about the new transgender category that he's looking into creating for boxing. I'm turning over to you to Trill Dog Bill. What's your reaction to that?
WBC, we be cashing in. Ching ching. They never miss a trick to make a buck. I tell you that much. You know what I'm saying? Come on, bring it on. Bring it on. Hey, everybody gets to have the chance. Everybody should have a chance to compete in sports and in no matter what you are, So, yeah, of course, the WBC, I'm not mad at it, but of course it got to be the WBC to jump out there first, right? It got to be them, you know what I'm saying, to get that money first. But I'm not mad at them, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, make as many rainbow belts as you want, you know what I'm saying? Make it happen. I'm for everybody have a good time, you know what I'm saying? Ching-ching! He gonna get some money. That's gonna bring, I'm trying to tell you, that's gonna have all the money. You know what I'm saying? They need to bring out Lil Nas X, everybody. They gotta have everybody out there. It's gonna be crazy. Make a big whole thing about it. You know what I'm saying? He know what he's doing. Mauricio Suleiman, he know what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. TBE.
All right. WBC, we be caring. But I have some questions for this because there's a lot going on. It's like yes, we created a division for men who have males who have transitioned into a woman, but I want to say, what about the women that have transitioned into a man? What's that? How about them? Do they get to shine too? So we might have
Yes,
two.
that's included in what he said. TBE.
That is. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be that.
that's included when you said a trans category.
All right. So, but are there two separate divisions within this division? Like I don't want to get into it. It's too complicated to talk. It's being recorded. I don't want to get into it. I'm done. My brothers, you get what I'm trying to say. I don't because that he said no man will be beaten on a woman. But I mean, if you're allowing, I don't want to get into it.
They're saying every member that's a part of a certain category would have been assigned the same gender at birth.
All right.
So, for example, if you were assigned the gender as male at birth, you would only be fighting other people who were assigned that same gender at birth.
All right.
So therefore, would never be
all right.
the scenario you're envisioning in your head.
All right, cool. So it'd never be that. All right, thank you so much, Kaden. You helped me a lot right there. All right, so now this is dope. This is dope for the sport of boxing. It gives exposure to fighters who are transgendered, who have skills, and the world we live in nowadays may not want to be may not want to turn their eyes to this, but this might be something to look at because it's don't matter who you are, you have a skill and ability, and we need to see it. That's it. And if this is great for boxing. Hopefully this does well. And shout out to WBC for being the first to jump on it. And some people scared to take risks, not WBC, and I appreciate that.
I have a few thoughts on it. All of them are positive. But I can't help but feel like this is some remedial measures the WBC is taking based on their actions in the past, and I will leave it at that. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. They are trying to
I was going to mention that, but I said, nah, I'll let that go.
For things that happened in the past. No, but the reality is, as the world becomes more progressive and people become more comfortable with being who they are and living their truths, you're going to run into things that are complicated. So one of the quotes he said was, boxing isn't a game of numbers and in time. So, for example, one main issue that's taken place is in high school sports, you have transgender girls competing against cisgender girls in track, and they're winning and they're beating the cisgender girls. And then those are girls who are assigned the female at birth and they identify as female, and they're competing against athletes who were assigned the gender male at birth, and then they transitioned into being women, being girls, and now they're competing against them, and the transgender girls are winning and beating them in changing and altering times. So that's become a real issue in high school athletics. So it seems like what the WBC is saying is they want to allow transgender athletes to compete, but they also want it to be on a level playing field to where there are some advantages, say that a transgender woman may have over a cisgender woman. So I understand that, and I think that that's cool. Like, to me, it adds intrigues, and it actually adds a different layer to boxing. And who knows, those fights may be entertaining and go down. So you got to see. I think one thing that he said that I agree with is everyone has a right to compete. And so you should have a division where you can compete and compete professionally. And I think Mauricio Suleiman is on to something. I guess the only thing is, how do you regulate this? Because it's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot. Your intentions are pure, right? Like boxing, the idea of boxing, the concept of boxing, your intentions are pure. But there are athletes like Conor Ben who try to cheat because that's just the way it's going to be, allegedly, right? Conor Ben who are going to cheat, right? So the thing is, how can you take your pure idea and monitor it so that things don't go bad? And I think that's going to be the major issue. But in terms of creating the division, allowing athletes to compete and doing it to try to level the playing field, so that people don't feel the need to, or so that people don't feel excluded, I think is a great thing. I think there needs to be more work done, and it sounds like he's saying that there needs to be more work done. But I do think it could be entertaining. I think it could be profitable. I think it could be something that takes on a life of its own. And what I mean by that is bring in new, different viewers that currently who aren't watching boxing currently. So that's what I feel about it. I think it's interesting, it's intriguing, but I think it could be a good thing if it's done well. So we'll see what happens. But I think shout out to Mauricio. But again, I feel like there's something that sparked his interest in this, and that's what he's doing. He's trying to rectify a wrong that he may feel guilty for. But anyways, that's my take on it.
Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter, and please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros.